Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 540 on Tuesday, the 29th of August, 2023. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew. And in a week when Rolls-Royce paints a huge Hack Me sign, we'll be carefully threading our way down the road. In new car news, we see one manufacturer not giving up on the B segment. And in points of interest, we dust off our musical instrument cases. But first, we have a smidgen of follow-up this week for a change. News is a bit thin on the ground, everyone.
Yeah.
You are not going through the marathon that has been the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, as we made up for the 4 weeks beforehand.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're going to start with a clean air zone, a very...
Clean?
I was going to say contentious topic at the moment.
Yes.
But this is Bath's clean air zone. And they have reported that since they introduced it in March 2021, there has been a drop of 26% in nitrogen dioxide across the area that is the clean air zone, because it's not all the city. It's just particular parts of it. And also they say that whereas when they first introduced the scheme, there was 6% of vehicles were non-compliant, and that's fallen to 1%. And now this clean air zone is different from others because it targets taxis, vans, buses, coaches, and lorries. Does not target privately owned vehicles.
Yes, not private cars.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing. The air has improved. That's good.
Yes, it is. And what we've linked to in the show notes, by the way, is a BBC article, which means that it is a snippet. Doesn't necessarily go into measuring methodologies and the like, which I think would probably be interesting.
Yes, some questions do come up, don't they, when you read this?
They do. You wonder what the measurement methodology is over and what period it was measured over. And also, fundamentally, did it result in a reduction in traffic?
Yes. But
if it resulted in an improvement in the air quality, then really do the traffic levels matter? I guess it's the follow-on question from that. I guess a reduction in both would be a proper win. But
it would be interesting to see neighbouring areas, because one of the claims when a clean air zone is to be implemented, those against it say, all you're doing is pushing the pollution out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those neighbouring areas, has their air quality got worse?
Yeah.
Stayed the same? Or has theirs reduced as well because people have purchased compliant vehicles, newer vehicles that are cleaner, and therefore everyone is benefiting from it in Bath?
Taking public transport instead, etc. Yeah. But we've got to get away from the fact that there are people anecdotally saying that they have noticed there has been a difference in the air quality recently.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Next up is a story from Car. We were commenting, was it before we started recording or not? It's all blurring into one already this morning. We were saying before that it's been one of the wettest Julys on record. And at the same time, car damage from potholes has surged significantly. By significantly, I mean by a fifth. What can I say to that? When there is a big hole in the ground and it's wet, it's hard to tell whether or not it's just a shallow puddle or a very, very deep puddle if you don't necessarily know the road you're on. And the other thing is, of course, if the weather is that bad, you can't actually go out and repair the potholes as well. I mean, here I was having a grumble. I was having quite a long grumble last weekend because they had... it was a classic piece. Sorry, I'm going to go grossly off piece of what's actually written down in the show notes for today. There was the underground wasn't running because they're repairing the rails so the trains can move faster than walking pace. Not an exaggeration. Locally, they closed that, so there was a train replacement bus service running. At the same time, they had also dug up one of the main crossroads and traffic light sets in the town where I am, and it's right outside the T station. So not only did we have to contend with the fact that they had dug up the road and you had to weave around like an idiot to avoid all the exposed manholes and all that kind of stuff, with half the road cordoned off and police on overtime waving their arms and probably making the congestion worse. But we had, all the extra buses and coaches trying to replace trains. And it was just a total and utter show, cluster, whatever. And I was having a good old grumble about this, and somebody pointed out that really they kind of have a limited number of days in which they can do road repairs here in between the winter, and it all getting worse again. And all the rain there's been has knocked everything back and forward and whatever else, and meant that stuff couldn't happen weeks ago, probably. Everything was coming together to form this perfect storm on Hancock Street. So, yeah, it was just such a mess last weekend. Oh, and there was a local festival as well taking place. So many of the streets in the middle had all been cordoned off and pedestrianised temporarily. It was wonderful. It was utopian. But anyway, sorry. 50,079 call-outs to pothole damage in July alone. That means that over the course of the year to date, that was 362,172 pothole-related issues. So not great.
No, Rick Green, who is the chair of the Asphalt Industry Alliance, said it would take their estimate of £14.02 billion to tackle the backlog of potholes in the UK.
He said, rubbing his hands.
Yes.
In glee, yeah.
But still, there are, 42,675 miles of road are apparently in poor condition, whatever the criteria for that is.
What's the takeaway from this? The takeaway for this, listeners, is if you see a puddle, assume it's actually a bear trap.
Yes, but also, if you do get damage from a pothole, this article, it does a great job of explaining what you need to do and how to try and claim back from the council the costs of fixing your car.
But Andrew, let's move on to councils trying to relieve people of some money, potentially.
Yes, Devon Council has applied for the additional powers that the government has said that councils can ask for to issue motoring fines. Now, Devon County Council said it wants to enforce moving traffic offences with their own CCTV cameras. This includes things like driving through a no entry sign or making a turn where it's banned, that sort of stuff. But it doesn't go on, again, this is a BBC article, a news article, so it doesn't go into full detail of all the things they want to cover. But they claim that by and I'm going to quote here from the council, taking on these enforcement powers and improving monitoring, it would allow us to improve road safety, reduce congestion and emissions while supporting sustainable travel and public transport. Now, if you're claiming to do all that, you're doing more than going through a no entry sign and turning where you're not allowed to. It would be interesting to see, because they've launched a public consultation on this. It'd be interesting to see what they aim to cover. But if you do live in Devon, do check out the public consultation linked in the show notes in the article. It's within the article in the show notes to make your voice heard. They
are planning, if this goes through, to initially introduce the rules in 8 locations across Exeter and Barnstaple. And they're saying the sites have been chosen because of the high levels of offences, and our aim is not to punish drivers, yeah, right, but to change driver behaviour to ensure that the roads are safer and cleaner for everyone.
Looking through at the sites that they've picked, it seems to be no right turn, bus entrance, or bus access only, or one-way system. They're not actually, doesn't appear to be taking on that much. Apart from you clearly went past a sign that said you're not allowed.
Yeah.
Don't know how that's going to sort emissions.
You wonder about the percentage of that. How often it happens, really, but maybe it is one of those times when stuff's signed and then everybody ignores it, which is not unknown.
Yeah.
When I say everybody, I mean people who are likely to ignore things, ignore them.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move from the southwest up into Scotland, Alan.
Yes. Glasgow was planning to buy 19 hydrogen-powered bin lorries, and it was going to spend £7 million on those. However, what they're now going to do, they're not going to go forward with that, and instead of that, they're going to spend the £7 million on electric vehicles instead. They already have 328, including an electric bin lorry, and 180 Nissan Leafs. We had a bit of a discussion about this before. the article's from fuelcellsworks.com. There may be a certain amount of spin applied to this generally. Okay, so there's our warning.
They are coming
at
it from a certain perspective, shall we say?
Yes. But it says, since the market for hydrogen fuel cell refuse collection vehicles has yet to mature, the council has had to adjust its fleet strategy for 2020 to 2030. It sounds like they're not saying we definitely don't want bin lorries, refuse collection vehicles, whatever. It sounds like either they can't get hold of them because there aren't enough being made. And the cost concerns bit, the cost of hydrogen has gone up quite significantly because the cost of the electricity required to split the ions, etc., has gone up as well. Split the ions, that was appalling. I'm so sorry to anybody scientific, but you know what I mean, form the hydrogen. I thought we'd cover this one because we think there might be a couple of different factors at play here, both a supply point of view for actually getting hold of the vehicles and the chassis, also that the cost of the hydrogen may well have made it unsupportable, and the combination of the two was just a bit much, whereas people like Volvo are coming along and introducing kind of off-the-shelf electric trucks for exactly this sort of purpose.
Yeah, they've got one electric.
As is Mercedes as well, by the way, before.
Yeah, they've got one electric bin lorry refuse collector. And they've probably seen how it is actually capable of what they want it to do as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was certainly since we began as this podcast, we always felt that hydrogen was perfect for larger vehicles because of the batteries required, but the technology seems to have developed, and the actual real-world use has shown that electric vehicles, if they have a prescribed area and a base, it can work.
Exactly. And refuse collection is a bit of an outlier in these things as well, because you're not driving very far at all. So in actual fact, as much of the energy is being used to power the compactor on the back, probably more of the energy is being used to power the compactor on the back than to actually sort of cover the range you require for that. So I think it's a slightly strange one. So this is nothing to do with range. But as well as that, they run from a depot, they sit for many hours at a time. They're not really driven in shifts.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be kind of in, turn around, swap your driver out again or anything like long distance haulage. Or even into depot.
Yeah.
Couple of factors at play there worth just keeping a little bit of an eye on. I'm sure the non-hydrogen EV hardcore can find many, many reasons why you would swap over, but I do think it is a balanced number of different things.
Talking of electricity and hardcore, I'm going to stick with Tesla. It's our weekly Tesla. It seems to be our weekly Tesla article.
We used to never cover Tesla stories, but
no.
The
come
stories
a bit thick and fast.
Well, the stories have evolved, I think.
Well, yeah, this is actually about the business and the company rather than others involved. But anyway, Tesla has opened their first version 4 Tesla supercharger station. This is in Tottenham. Transport Minister Jesse Norman did the ribbon cutting.
Ooh.
Now, there's a couple of things which makes this stand out, because if you looked at it, you really wouldn't notice. But there's a 3-meter cable now, which means that no matter where your charging port is, you should be able to connect up to it without having to go at a funny angle or half mount the pavement or the base around the charger and all the rest of it. They are CCS sockets, but the most important thing is that you can pay by contactless, meaning you no longer have to have the Tesla app and have to create an account to access their charger. So now Tesla is legal with the EV charging regulations and rules.
Yay. Let's see how quickly they roll these out. Probably quite, to be honest.
But they're not going everywhere. It says in the article how they're not going to be installed in all their places. So I don't know whether that's because some of these locations are at their maximum as far as charge anyway. So what's the point?
Possibly.
And also if they keep them to just, because not all of the network is open to other makes.
For example, the ones at motorway service stations, because of a previous exclusivity agreement with the electric highway or whatever it's called, now GridServe, then they had to be kept. So they were one brand only. So they weren't, strictly speaking, a public charging network.
Mm.
You had to use the ones that didn't work in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that those are the kind of locations where they're not rolling them out. GridServe will be there to serve everyone else.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, this is good news. This is good. Yes, very positive, nice one. This, by the way, this is Tesla's biggest achievement, and I think to an extent it's because they've just been left alone to get on with it. Because it's totally unsexy.
Mm.
The charging network is I mean, in theory, if you listen to the stuff that's been said in the past, then it should all be solar powered, and there should be no need to rely on the grid or anything.
You can talk to friend of the show, Ed Niedermeyer, to find out where all that went wrong.
Yes, well, absolutely. And if you haven't read Ludicrous by Ed Niedermeyer, then it's well worth your time. It's on audiobook and stuff as well.
Yeah. If
you're not a great fan of reading, or you want to listen to it as you cruise around the place. But yeah, I think this is really good, and I think that charging network really is the most important part of Tesla.
Yes.
But hey, what do I know?
Yep. That's about the end of the first part, Alan.
It is. We have reached Guilt Minute, the quick break in the show where we ask for a tad of financial support to keep the lights on and the hosting running. If you feel the Motoring Podcast is worth a small consideration every month, then you can become a patron. Different levels of patron include different levels of commitment from us to you, including being able to watch the show recorded live. We also have a small range of merchandise in our spring store, from stickers to mugs and t-shirts. If you don't have any spare cash, and we completely understand, then you can help us by following for free from a podcast player to receive every show as they're released, and by liking and rating the show whatever way your podcast supplier lets you. If you've done all of that, and some of you do, so thank you very, very much, as I say every week, then the last thing you can do is to recommend us to your friends or colleagues.
Yes, thank you everyone that does.
In fact, you can do that even if you haven't done any of the stuff up above.
Yes. New car news, Alan.
The other week, we talked about the Kia EV9, which is a 7-seat electric SUV that originally we said we didn't think was going to be coming here. And lo and behold, it is. It is, however, quite large and is probably going to be quite expensive. So there's a smaller version. It's like an EV9 that's been put through the boil wash. The EV5, unsurprisingly, is smaller. And it has those same cubic looks as the EV9, but in a smaller package.
Yeah, I really like the look of it. They're obviously using that same central or the same screen configuration that they've used in the EV6, and is going to go in the EV9.
Yeah,
which is also Hyundai use in their new models, and it looks really good and is easy to use as well, having tried a few of their vehicles out. I really like it a lot, actually.
So it's about the same size as the Kia Sportage and is up against things like the Skoda Enyaq, the Mercedes EQB, the Ford Explorer when it finally gets here, and the Fisker Ocean. Everybody obsesses over the weight now for decent reason, to be honest. And this one comes in at just over 1.8 tons, so not ridiculous, but still fairly chunky. But pretty good for an EV of that kind of size. And
that's about all the detail we know, really, because we don't have prices, we don't have range or whatever silly 0 to 62
the
speed will be.
It does have some cool storage solutions, though, and lifty up cubbies and under the boot floor and all that kind of thing. Whenever we do actually get our hands on one, it'll be pretty cool. Speculation for the pricing, although we don't have actual numbers, but speculation says around about the £50,000 mark would align it with its rivals. So it's not going to be a million miles off of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice looking thing, though.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Looking forward to trying it out.
I always think these look nicely futuristic without being crazy radical.
But I think they'll also, because of that, they won't.
They shouldn't date too quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely from the post-Slash era of design.
Yeah. I feel the rear hips have a bit of a hint of Volvos from the early 2000s.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Slight flaring in the lights and
and the shapes of the lights as well.
Yeah.
Yes, nice. Expected to be launched here by 2025.
Yes.
Here being the UK.
I will now take us on to the sister company, Hyundai. And we're going to talk about a car that cost £20,000. Amazingly, there still are some. However, it is obviously an internal combustion engine vehicle, and it's the refreshed i20. They've improved the safety kit or added more safety kit. They've added 3 new colours and also the ability for over-the-air updates to be enabled. I had an i20N, which is one of my favourite cars ever to have driven. It's so much fun. Their normal i20s are actually really good as well.
I had the N-Line Pro and really liked that. Just nicely spec'd thing. But even at this, that 20,000, well, just under £21,000 mark that Andrew mentioned for the advanced spec, you still get 16-inch alloys, LED headlamps, 8-inch touchscreen, smartphone mirroring, and a leather steering wheel.
Yep.
As well as all the safety stuff. It's not coming in at pleb level.
No. And the safety kit will also include cruise control, front and rear parking sensor, speed warning, lane keeping assist, and automatic high beam. And that's a standard on the entry level. Yes,
exactly. So that'll be nice. Turbocharged 3-cylinder petrol engines, 98, 100, and 100. Oh no, pardon me. With only a 98 horsepower version, the 118 horsepower version, as it says here, is no more. You get 6-speed manual, 7-speed dual clutch. So you can make, Golf R type rim noises on up changes.
Yeah. 3 new colours is Lucid Lime Metallic, which is in the pictures in the article that's linked in the show notes. A Lumen Grey Pearl, okay, unfortunately a grey, but Meta Blue Pearl as well.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 colours and a grey.
Yeah, if you choose the lime, by the way, then you can also go for the optional Lucid Lime interior package. You get lime green stitching and some lime green highlights on the inside as well, which I think looks really cool.
Mm, yeah.
I like that. That's very nice.
Yeah, it's a good car we like, and they've freshened it up.
Yeah, heading to the other end of the automotive spectrum, Mercedes-AMG have shown off and launched the new GT at Monterey Car Week, and they seem to have invented the 911.
Yes.
So if you didn't want your rear engine flat 6, if you thought that was the weak point in the 911, you can now buy a 911 that has a front-mounted V8, and it is, the new AMG GT. It's all-wheel drive. It's 2+2. I think it's pretty good. Well, it looks good if you like the 911 because basically in silhouette, it's almost the same.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Mm.
I like this a lot, actually.
At launch, it comes in a couple of trims. Both have a V8. You either get GT55 or GT T63 trims. And there will be 4-cylinder plug-in hybrid models, etc., likely to join over time. The low-powered peasant spec GT55 delivers a mere 469 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque, and 0 to 62 in 3.9 seconds. However, we all know that we would order the biggest number that we possibly can. So the GT63 develops 576 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque, and 0 to 62 in 3.2 seconds, blatting its way along to a top speed of 195 miles an hour. That's a nice 12 miles an hour faster than the 183 mile an hour GT55.
Mm. The only thing, because I really like this, the only thing I am struggling with...
Is it the folding rear seats?
No. Is the center console screen thingy. That just looks so out of place.
It does.
It looks like... It looks like the photographer left their iPad there and forgot and then took a picture of the interior.
It does. It is a bit of a, hey, we've designed an interior, now we're just going to slap this screen right in the middle of it. It's
and that's a bit disappointing, I have to say.
Yeah.
But I really like the look of this.
Yeah, but you could live with it, yeah?
I don't know. I'd need to try it for about 6 months, I think, if Mercedes are listening.
Really? To get a good old test, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, talking of things where we won't need to worry about a screen, and this is The new BAC Mono. Spot the difference, I think, is what this is going to be used as.
Yeah, I think so.
The Mono is a single-seater road car, just about road car, but more focused for the track. A manufacturer that is based up in Liverpool and make this stunning single-seater sports car that, and also because of that, the experience of being an owner as well, and all the things that go along with the package, and the ability to make this your Mono unique because you spec absolutely everything to your requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a wonderful bit of engineering and kit. But they've come out with a new one. They are going to use a 2.5 litre petrol engine, which is apparently stronger. They're using bodyworks that was on the Mono R, as well as cockpit tweaks. And it's going to be sensational.
These are really cool things. If you've ever seen them up close and personal, then they are beautifully created vehicles. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be Euro 6 compliant, actually. That's the changes with the engine.
Yeah.
So that's important. Prices start at £215,000, so it's not for everybody.
No, but it's not. The thing is that when it comes to supercar money, that's not ridiculous. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're a bit more than the Mercedes-AMG GT we just talked about.
Yeah.
But that is essentially a production line vehicle. This, sure, you can choose the colours and the interiors, and you can choose some quite lurid colours and personalised interiors and all sorts of stuff on the Mercedes, but not to the way that you can spec the Mono.
Yeah.
And it's very much, it's your car. It's built for you. And I'm sure that if you bought one, and rather than ever sort of buying a second one, unless you crash it, you could probably have it continuously upgraded.
Yeah, I mean, they do things like they mold the seat to you and all that sort of stuff as well. So, it really is your car. Interestingly, they took this on a test day at Anglesey Circuit in Wales. Well, they took the more powerful Mono R, and it took between 3 and 5 seconds off the lap times of the Ferrari SF90 and the McLaren 765 LT.
Doesn't surprise me.
Claiming the outright lap record. So quite quick. It'd be interesting to see if one of these is entered for the race remembrance. See how many.
No, I don't think so.
The car that lapped everyone the most.
I think there would be words or such an incredible penalty on it.
They'd have to have people like sitting on it whilst it drove around to slow it down.
Yeah, I was going to say also no roof, but that doesn't hold back the caterham. So anyway.
No.
Shall we talk about another ridiculous car built to your specifications?
Please do.
It's another Porsche restomod, I'm afraid. And you all know how I feel about Porsche restomods. I get sick of 964s being cut up to mimic older ones and satisfy the whims of tech millionaires. Yet another Californian company has come out with oh no, hang on a minute. Its 1511 design is not based sunny Southern California. They are based in Bakewell in Derbyshire. And instead of cutting up an 964, they have taken a 914 instead, clothed it in a similar to the original but different carbon fiber body, put in a 3.8 litre V6 from Cayman, as opposed to the original 2 litre 6-cylinder. Tweaked it, tucked it, made it a little bit more powerful, added a little bit of downforce, and came out with something which is really quite cool.
Yes, I like
really
this a
very
lot.
Cool, actually. My only complaint...
There's always one.
No, it seems to have lost pop-up headlamps.
Yes.
One of my automotive aims, which I still haven't managed yet, is to own a car with pop-up headlamps. And I know that they're probably rubbish. And I know that they change the weight, the center of pressure and distribution and all that kind of stuff at speed. I still want to own a car with pop-up headlamps. And this is lovely.
Well, it does make you giggle.
But it should have pop-up headlamps.
Pop-up
headlamps?
Yeah. You activate them.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I've never driven a car with pop-up headlamps.
Oh, even I have.
Just not fair, is it?
No, it isn't, Alan. Be interesting to know what Rich Gooding thinks of this.
Yes,
So Rich,
yes, I did think
when
about
you
that.
listen to this, because I know you're not always on the same day that we release it, but if you could let us know what you think of this, because I'm sure you've seen it, because I think it's cracking. I know it's not beautifully faithful to the original, but I think there's enough touches. Like the interior is, I think, is superbly done, and I love the fact that it looks like it's a normal
Simple.
cassette player.
Ugh, but that's just one. That's just an off-the-shelf Blaupunkt Bremen of the new style. It's even got yellow. I see it's got blue backlighting in this particular one in the picture, and it should really have orange backlighting. Anyone knows that? Duh. Anyway, in case you wonder why we're picking out Rich specifically, it's because he wrote the book on it. So if you do want a good book, the history, development, and all the different specs, then his is. I was going to say his is the one to buy, but I think really his is the one to order that one up off Amazon or wherever you get your good books from. Also worth mentioning, clicking through to the 1511 website and going to the 914 button at the top and just seeing some of the visions, some of the more photos than there are on the Haggerty site.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take us to China. And this is the news that the Chinese state planner has approved Xiaomi's, who are a mobile phone maker, plans to build electric vehicles. Now, why this is important is because this is only the 5th company that has been given this permission by China, by the Chinese government.
Yes, because I wondered why we'd included this and included it here. But you think that there's loads and loads, and as you pointed out to me, Andrew, you think that there's loads and loads of Chinese brands.
There are.
And there are, but really there's only 4 companies behind them all.
Yes, they're all subsets.
Yeah, they're all offshoots of these same 4 manufacturers.
I mean, I dread to think what Ash in Geely's wall looks like, where he's tried to map all the companies they own now.
Yeah.
Because it will be a bit like, those like natural history. The animal started with this, and then this is where all the different what do you call them? The
phylums and I don't know. I'm not the wrong type of science.
But the classifications as they spread out, and you've got the mammals and the insects and the birds,
and how the Zika is different from the Lincoln Co. And all these kind of things. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just that was a super quick one, but it's just worth mentioning. That will start coming through. So look out for more and more families of brands coming from Xiaomi, basically.
Yep.
So yeah, from that into points of interest. And this week, as every week, we start off with a lunchtime read. And it's from a friend of the show, a great supporter over the years, Alex Goy. And it's all about how a road trip in his Morgan three-wheeler kickstarted his mental health journey. It's worth reading on a couple of levels. First of all, though, it's worth saying there was a similar article was published in Jalopnik, a while ago, significant time ago. It seems to have been lost to the joys of Geo Media, the owner of Jalopnik. So this is new one. Some bits are similar, but it is a new version with a whole load of photos as well. Part of the trip was he was given a Polaroid camera to see what he could do on the way as well. So the photos they're all square, they're all Polaroid styly. It's a nice story to read, partly for the car stuff and to look at the pictures and to hear about the people's reactions to that kind of thing, but also for all the other things that go along with it. And it's just great. Yeah. It's well worth 15, 20 minutes of your time to just go through it, look at the pictures, read the words. It is set out like a slideshow, but yeah, take some lunchtime and have a read of that because it's darned good.
Yeah, it's a good one, that one.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex.
Mm-hmm. Right, I'm going to take us to list of the week. This is Autocar, and it's a slideshow again. Not as big as we've been previously linking to, only the 19 slides.
I'd just like to say, if you do know of a good source of lists of the week, they do seem to be short on They do seem to be short in supply again at the minute. They go through fits and starts, and we gather many, many, many of them, and we sort of hoard them when we see them. But we are running out of that list. So please, if you do see good lists of the week, preferably ones that are accurate and correct, so not AI generated. When I say preferably, I mean not ones that are AI generated.
Well, we won't use it. As simple as that.
Yeah, then that would be gratefully appreciated. Do sort of drop hints anytime I see motoring journalists, but it's been a while since I've seen motoring journalists face to face. So yes, list of the week, submissions gratefully appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Title of our list for this week, though, is The Cars Fast Vanishing from Our Roads. Alan, through all these...
Well, this is more about types of car, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So rather than specific models and saying, oh, look, there are no more Colt Sigmas on the road anymore.
I think inspired by the fact that Volvo decided that, thanks to sales, it was going to get rid of the saloon and the estate.
Well, the thing is, thanks to sales is always, that's a perfectly reasonable reason to get rid of stuff. So I'm going to say commercial. So the whole, one of the headings here is commercial. So the whole car-derived van type setup. You remember that, you used to get Astra vans that were essentially an estate with no windows and back doors, that kind of thing.
Fiesta vans as well.
Yes. Well, they've, of course, they're now the Transit Connect and the Transit Courier. Does that still exist? Possibly not. I think it's still a Transit Courier. Yeah, stuff like the mini club van, which was the Clubman with the van back, which I thought was really cool. That, to me, was one of the coolest mini variants that there's ever been. So, yes, that's my choice from the list.
Mm-hmm. I have got one that I think is all you.
All right. That's a bit worrying.
Roadsters and two-door 4x4s.
There's a little bit of truth in that. But yeah. Okay.
I mean, that was your driveway when we started the show.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, that's a very fair point. Yeah. I can't argue with that at all.
No. So you're the reason these are disappearing, Alan. It's your fault.
No, it's not my fault because I buy them. You see, that's the thing. I'm the people who keep them on the roads.
Do you want to take us to the and finally?
And finally this week, I haven't had a chance to watch this yet because it came out on Friday and it's been a rather busy weekend. But it's Wanted, The Escape of Carlos Ghosn, is now out on Apple TV. As I said, I haven't had a chance to watch it. I just saw that it was coming out. I figured it's the ultimate follow-up, isn't it?
Yes.
Where the story we've covered in lots of detail over the months has turned into a TV show. So I'm looking forward. I will actually make a point of trying to watch this. Made by the same people that make Drive to Survive, for example. So yes, let's just see. It's Apple TV, so that seems to launch everything globally all at the same time. So it should be possible for everyone to see that.
Yep.
Excellent. No parish notes this week, are there?
Well, maybe we should start mentioning that we will be live streaming.
Yes.
We hope, all things being equal.
Well, weather permitting, which is what killed it last time.
Well, yeah, that, and then lack of communication at that point. But we will be live streaming both Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon of Goodwood Revival, which comes up not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yes,
we would love for you to join us as we prattle on whilst watching some fabulous vehicles get thrown around the Goodwood circuit.
The challenge is that it's classic cars, so it will very much be prattling on and trying not to make too many mistakes as we...
Well, there's going to be an awful lot of, that looked expensive.
That was nice. Yes, exactly. So we're going to try that out and we'll see how that goes. We'll remind you again next week and then we'll remind you on the socials and the run-up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's about it, I think, for this week. So don't forget that between now and next week, you can give us any feedback and share your thoughts of the show at Motoring Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, on Facebook, and on the contact page at motoringpodcast.com, the hub of all our activities. Remember, you can support us financially via Patreon. Please leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts or however your podcast app lets you do such a thing. Andrew, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with me is to search for Crack Windscreen on Twitter or Mastodon, and you should find me there. And Alan, if people would like to discuss I don't know, roadsters and two-door 4x4s with you personally? What's the best way for them to do that?
You can do that on Twitter, Mastodon, Instagram, most of the mature social media platforms where I'm at AJP Bradley. That's BRADLEY. As I said, we'll be back very soon. Until then, I've been Alan Bradley.
I've been Andrew Clues.
And safe motoring.